If you don't have 10 million naira in your bank account, this video is actually for you. According to the Minister of Finance, only 5% of Nigerians have more than 500,000 naira in their bank account. Based on Nigeria's population of 213 million people, this translates that around 10,650,000 people actually have a savings account above 500,000 naira. Only 40% of Nigerian adults have a bank account, which translates to roughly 79.2 million people. The number of people without a bank account in Nigeria is roughly around 118 million people. Approximately 90 million Nigerians actually live in what I call extreme poverty. Considering the significant portion of the population living in poverty and the limited financial inclusion, it is likely that only a small percentage of Nigerians actually have a substantial amount of money in their bank account. Based on this incontrovertible fact, 9 out of 10 Nigerians do not have up to 2 million naira in their bank account. Less than half the population of Nigeria have up to 5 million naira in their retirement account. This situation is not a good one for the economy. I don't want you to live like the majority, because when you're talking about majority in Nigerian economic system, you're talking about those that actually earn the money and spend the money. The majority actually constitute the low income earners and the middle class. But those that actually invest the money in this economic system called capitalism or free market economic system are actually the upper class or the wealthy or the richer class. If you want to gain something from this video, then it is imperative that you have to watch the video from the beginning to the end. The majority of people in our part of this world are actually broke, they are unhealthy, and they are actually unhappy. You ask me why a lot of people are actually unhappy, why a lot of people are actually unhealthy, and why a lot of people are actually broke. We are actually experiencing a high inflationary trend in Nigeria now, and because of this high inflationary trend in Nigeria, it is actually affecting a lot of things. Among the things that actually affected is the cost of living and high rate of unemployment in the economy. If you don't want to be in the majority that are always spending the money, earning the money, spending the money, there is no room for investment, there's no room for saving, then it is imperative that you watch this video from the beginning to the end. You see, if you don't have up to 5 million naira in your bank account, it's actually not an offense. If you don't have up to 200,000 naira in your bank account, it's actually not an offense. If you don't have up to 15 million naira in your bank account, it is also not an offense. But you know, in life, you need to grow, you need to be wealthy, you need to be rich, you need to be, be able to afford the basic necessities of life. You need to be able to live, financially independent. You need to be able to afford some basic things that are very important in life. And that's why I am bringing this video to every one of us. If you don't have a 5 million or 15 million naira in your bank account, it is not a problem. But if you don't have this money, there are some certain things that you might not be able to do or fulfill in life. One of them is that it might not be possible for you to buy a car. If you want to buy a car, if you don't have up to 15 million naira now, you might not be able to buy a very good car or even above 15 million naira. If you don't have up to 15 million naira, you might not be able to buy a house. Of course, in Nigeria now, buying a house is very expensive. It's even above 15 million naira. But on the average, let's assume you want to do something, you want to manage yourself. You can still manage with 15 million naira and build something good for yourself. If you want to go on vacation now, you need money. You need up to 15 million naira or even above. Or traveling all around the world, you need money. Then if you want to send your children to school now, it's very expensive as well. So you can imagine the power of money in this situation. You can imagine what 15 million naira can actually do in your life. So if you don't have up to 15 million naira in your bank account, you are going to be financially stuck. You are going to be in what I call the financial danger zone. You might not be able to afford yourself the basic things that you actually need in life, like car, like housing, like traveling around, like sending your kids to school, eating good food and other basic things that I actually need in life. You might not be able to afford yourself all these things. So if you don't have 15 million naira in your bank account now, you might not be able to fulfill all these things I've actually enumerated and stated as well. So you might be stuck financially and you might be in what I call financial danger zone. But however, there are some certain things that you can actually do that can help you in this scenario, in this economic uncertainty, that if you actually apply this principle, you are sure that you can be able to raise even above 15 million naira. Now, how do you raise the money? How do you raise the money? How can you be able to raise 15 million naira? I'm going to be, talking about one or two things that you can actually do that can help you psychologically, emotionally, financially to be able to raise that money. Because if you are not rich in life, money answereth all things, and money is actually a spirit, and money is actually a tool. You need to be able to understand the dynamics of money and how to use money, and also how you can apply money to, be able to afford your basic necessities, and also to be able to have what I call financial independence. So you can actually raise this money by what I'm going to state, one after the other. Number one, you can raise this money by surrounding yourself with millionaires and billionaires. A lot of people will say, how can I actually align myself or surround myself with billionaires and millionaires? A lot of people ask me this question. You can actually align yourself or surround yourself with billionaires or millionaires by listening to them. Millionaires and billionaires are people that actually, have been able to achieve a lot of tremendous things in their life, and they are very highly successful people. So you need to listen to them. And one of the ways through which you can listen to them, you don't necessarily need to meet them. You don't necessarily need to talk to them. You don't necessarily need to be physically present in where they actually are. But you can actually listen to them by, reading books. You can actually listen to them by watching podcasts. You can actually listen to them by watching YouTube. So you can align yourself with the rich by reading books about them, by watching podcasts, and also listen to podcasts and watching videos on YouTube. I could remember some time ago, I used to watch videos, concerning the man called Dangote in Nigeria, who is actually the richest man in Africa, and I actually gain a lot of things from these people. I actually gain a lot of things from them, because one of the things I actually gain about them is that you need what we call consistency. You need to be resilient. You need to be pragmatic. You need to be determined. You need to be focused. You need to be result oriented, and you need to have what we call positive mindset. So you need to, number one, surround yourself with millionaires and billionaires. Read books about them, watch or listen to podcasts, and also watch videos on YouTube. Number two things you can actually do is by thinking like the rich or wealthy people. You can start thinking like them. The rich actually think differently from the poor or the average or the middle class. They don't think the same way. The same way the rich actually think is quite different from the way the poor people think. When you talk about the way the rich people actually think, you see, people that are rich, they have a different mindset. Their mindset is actually different, and they think differently. One of the ways through which they actually think is that the rich people actually think, or the wealthy people actually think, is that they understand that money is actually a tool. Money is actually a tool. And one secret or cardinal principles about the rich people is that once they have money, they don't spend the money. They use that money to actually look for more money. They use that money to actually, invest that money, to make the money to grow for them, to make the money to actually work for them. Do you get it now? So the way the rich actually think is quite different from the way the poor people think. Now you may ask me, how does the poor people actually think? You see, they think, the poor people have a different way of thinking as well. You see, according to, the principles of life or wealth creation, once the poor people actually get this money, they spend the money. The poor people, once they make the money, they spend the money. The middle class, when they make the money, they use the money to facilitate their credit stores so that they can be able to have more access to credit facilities. And when they have these credit facilities, what do they do with the money? They actually use the money to buy ostentatious goods. They use the money to buy extravagant goods. They use the money to buy flamboyant things. They wanted to give an impression that they are actually rich, but on the other hand, they are not rich, because most of their lifestyle is being funded by credit facilities like loans, easy buy now and pay later. So the rich actually, once they make the money, they invest the money to make more money. But for the poor and the middle class, they get the money, spend the money, or use the money to increase their credit score so that they can have more access to more credit facilities. Then number 3 things you need to do is by changing your mindset. You need to change your mindset about money. You see, a lot of us, we have what we call a negative mindset. We align ourselves with toxic people. We align ourselves with people that cannot make any impact in our lives. We also actually align ourselves with things that cannot actually make a positive impact in our life. We actually, embrace things that cannot add value to our life. So we have this negative mindset, and part of our mindset is that a lot of us actually think that money is evil, money is a taboo, that we don't need money, that money will actually lead you to commit some certain things, that rich people are actually wicked people, that wealthy people are actually selfish people, that they have what we call personal aggrandizement. They don't care about other people. But that principles or that idea or that precept is actually totally wrong. Do you get it now? So you need to change your mindset. Your mindset should be a positive mindset. You must begin to think like the rich. You must begin to act like the rich by watching their videos, by listening to podcasts, by watching their videos on YouTube and other social media platforms. So you need to change your mindset by developing what I call a positive mindset. Then number 4, you need to avoid what we call toxic people. That's number 4. You need to avoid toxic people. You see, toxic people, when you talk about toxic people are actually those that can actually bring you down. They have a way of bringing people down. They don't motivate you, they don't encourage you, they don't have the drive or the passion to achieve something great in life. They will always discourage you when you want to make anything significant in life and you inform them. They will discourage you from doing that kind of a thing. Those people are actually toxic people. These are the kind of people you have to avoid, because when you want to achieve something great in life, these people will limit your morale. They will bring you down, they will debase you and discourage you from achieving that particular thing. So for such people, you need to avoid them. So you need to move with people or associate yourself with people that can add value to your life. You need to associate yourself with people that can add something significant to your life. People that are positive minded, not the toxic kind of people. Now, what are the things that you need to avoid if you want to have money in your bank account? Or what are the things you need to avoid if you want to put money in your bank account so that you can be able to raise even above 50 million naira now, which I'm talking about, which is actually the benchmark of what we're talking about right now. So what are the things they can actually do to make more money, to increase what you have in your bank account from 500,000 naira to 1.5 to 2 million to 3 million to 4 million to 15 million to 30 million to 50 million? Some people will say, what you're saying is actually a mirage. It is not possible. It is actually possible. It depends on your mindset. It depends on how result oriented you are. It depends on your determination. It depends on your being focused. It depends on your pragmatism. It depends on your resiliency. It depends on yourself, your drive, your passion, what you intend to do to achieve that particular thing at the end of the day. So what are the things that you need to avoid if you want to increase your savings in your bank account, so that you will not have 100,000 naira or 200,000 or 300,000? You can now be thinking like the rich, like the millionaires and the billionaires. Number 1, when you have money in your bank account, do not put that money into investment. You see, a lot of us always make this mistake that when we have money in our bank account, we always put that money into investment. Somebody was telling me some time ago that when is he going to make money that he can be able to settle his house rent? That is not the way wealth creation actually works. When you talk about wealth creation, there is a separation between what you put in your investment, and there's also a separation between what you put in your saving and what you are actually spending. So when you're talking about savings, what you are putting in your bank account for emergency, you are saying here that you don't need to put that money into investment, because a lot of things can actually happen. What do you think is going to happen if that investment does not yield any fruit? Most especially if you're an active investor, where you are actually the one determining when to put the money and withdraw your money. You can use your money at any point in time. So that is why it is not encouraging, or it is not advisable to put your savings money into investment. Do you get it now? So don't put your money in your savings account. Don't put that money into investment. They should be separated from each other. The money for investment should be different from the money from saving. Then the money for saving should be different from the money from spending. So what I'm saying here is that you must have 3 accounts: the one for savings, the one for investment, and the one for spending. Number 2 is that you need to avoid what I call the get rich quick scheme. the get rich quick scheme. You see, most of the things that actually destroyed a lot of people in most developing countries is what I call greed. You understand? Somebody will tell you that if you put 100 naira into this thing, you are going to have 1 billion naira, and you're going to have this crazy imagination that if I actually put all my investment money into that particular thing, I'll become Aliko Dangote. It doesn't work like that. Do you get it now? So you do not need to put your life investment or your saving money into the get rich scheme, because it has always been proven that over time, most of this get rich quick scheme will always collapse at the end of the day. Imagine what happened during the time of Cyprus. Imagine what happened during the time of MMM. Do you get it now? A lot of people lose their money. A lot of people committed suicide. A lot of people had mental problems. Till now, they have not gotten out of that issue. So don't put your money meant for savings into the quick rich scheme, because when you're talking about wealth creation, when you're talking about how to become rich, it's actually a decade of sacrifice. It's not something that you have to wake up today and you become rich. It's something you have to build over time, and if you are very consistent and very resilient about it, you can actually achieve it at the end of the day. So don't put that money into what we call the get quick rich scheme, because at the end of the day you will have your tails getting burnt. Number 3 is that you do not put the money into spending account. If you remember, I was talking about my previous video about how to actually systemize your money. That when you're actually talking about systemizing your money, you are actually talking about dividing your money into 3 parts. Dividing your money into spending, into savings, into investment. So what we're saying here is that if you actually have a savings account where you're trying to build wealth over time for a period of emergency, what we're saying here is that you don't need to put that money into spending account, because when you put that money into spending account, there is every possibility that you're going to make a mistake and begin to spend from your savings account. So separate the 3 of them by putting them into savings, investment, and spending. Then number 4, do not post your financial wealth or financial life. You see, a lot of us actually make these mistakes that when we think that we have actually arrived, we've actually gotten a particular amount of money in our bank account, we want to flash it up, we want to show ourselves on the internet, on the social media. You do not need to post your financial life, because a lot of people have got into trouble because of this issue. They want to show or give an impression that I've made it. They come to the social media that I'm worth 15 million, 20 million, 30 million. At the end of the day, you are inviting fraudulent people, you are inviting kidnappers, you are inviting armed robbers, you are inviting, wicked people that can actually harm you at the end of the day into your life. A lot of people have actually gotten burnt at the end of the day because of this issue. They end up being kidnapped at the end of the day. After, even when the family has actually paid the ransom, they end up killing most of them, some of them, which is not a good one. So you don't need to post your financial life. Build your wealth in silence. Build your wealth in silence. Nobody is actually interested in your wealth, but there are some people that are actually interested in your wealth, in the sense that when you make that wealth, they want to dip their hands into that wealth that you have actually gotten into. They do not suffer with you. They do not go through the decade of sacrifice. They do not go through the pain in saving that money with you. So why do you have to show yourself on the social media by getting yourself into trouble? So build your wealth in silence. Building your wealth in silence is not a crime. You can live a decent life, you can live a modest life, you can live a quiet life, and you can still be rich. So you don't need to be flamboyant, you don't need to be extravagant, you don't need to show off yourself, you don't need to show off the numbers of cars that you have on social media, you don't need to show off the numbers of cars that you have, or houses that you have, or the amount of money you have on social media, because by doing that, you are putting yourself into problem. The other thing which you can do to put money into your savings account is what I call avoiding impulse buying. Avoiding impulse buying. You see, when you talk about impulse buying are things that they are impromptu kind of thing that always propel us, that always push us to buy everything that we see. Once you have that money in your bank account, like maybe 5 million or 10 million, there's a tendency for you to be tempted to buy everything that you see. Now that you feel that you have actually arrived, you feel like buying some things. You feel like, when you go out there and you see some things, you want to buy them. You want to buy this, you want to buy this, you want to buy this. Before you know, that money is going to go down. Because right now, we're in a period of inflation, and money does not even have any value. Somebody will ask me, why do you have to encourage me to put my money into a savings account even when we have inflation? Irrespective of inflation, put that money into what? A savings account, apart from your investment account. Because at the end of the day, life always happens. When life happens, you have something that can serve as a cushion effect that can actually help you in that period. For example, maybe you lose your job, or you get fired in your place of office, or there was an accident or something that happened. You should be able to survive for the next 3 to 6 to 12 months without even doing anything. That is what we're talking about here. So when you have a cushion, when you have a saving, you are best in a position, and even when life happens, you can survive the scenario without even feeling the pain. Do you get it now? So avoid the impulse buying. Then now let's go into how to get the money. How can you actually get the money? Now, number one thing you need to do is you need to prioritize your needs. A lot of us do not even prioritize our needs. Now you talk about prioritizing your needs, we're talking about the scale of preference. Let me use that word, scale of preference. We're saying here that you should put your need according to their level of importance. You arrange them according to how important they are in your life. So prioritize your needs. When you prioritize your needs, you'll be able to put those things that are very important first, followed by the less important ones. Number 2 things you need to do for you to actually get that money is to be intentional with your priority. To be intentional with your priority by choosing what is important to you. Now, this actually goes to people that are actually, putting much of their money on liabilities. Liabilities will not create any value. Liabilities will not add any money to your money. Liabilities will only create more holes in your pocket and make you lose a lot of money. So you need to be intentional with your priority by choosing what is important to you. Those things that are not important, those things that are liabilities, you can let them go and avoid them. Then number 3 things you can do is what? By working hard. Some people will say, there was a video I did some time ago, and I said hard work does not create wealth. That assumption is actually correct. You get it now? But you can work hard and still make money. You see, working hard is actually very, very good, because I made it clear in that video. You can really work hard, because right now in Africa, we always believe that if you don't work hard, you might not become very, very rich. But right now in our 21st century, you do not necessarily need to work hard before you can actually become rich now. But you can still work hard, because at the end of the day, working hard will create more value for you, will create more money for you, will create more avenues for you, will create more platform for you to be able to make and earn more money. Then number 4, working smartly. Working smartly. You can actually work smartly. Now, working hard is actually good, but working smartly is better than working hard. Do you get it now? When you work smartly, you'll be able to see where opportunities are coming from, and you put your money into it and make more profit at the end of the day. So working smartly is very, very good, more than working hard. But working hard too is also very good. But when you are working hard, you must also work smartly, so that you can be able to achieve your purpose at the end of the day. Then number 5, by working in the right direction. You see, working hard is good, working smart is also good, but when you're now working smartly, you should be able to work in the right direction. Now, working in the right direction simply means that you know where to put your money, you have financial education, you have ideas and experience about to invest your money, and it is actually working for you. So you are working in the right direction, putting your money where your money is going to create value for you, because money is actually a spirit, and money actually loves working. So when you are working in the right direction, it means that you are actually making more money at the end of the day. Then another one is what I call investing in what I call financial education. You need to invest in financial education. A lot of us, we have gone to school. Some people will tell me that, well, I'm a graduate, I've gone to school, I have a PhD, I have a master's, I have BSc, I've gone to secondary school. It doesn't matter, because all those schools that I've actually went to, they did not teach you about wealth creation. Schools will not teach you about wealth creation. Schools will not teach you how to make money. Schools will not teach you how to become wealthy. Schools will not teach you how to become, rich. I can remember some time ago when we were very young, our parents always asked us, what do you want to become in life? Some people say, I want to become a lawyer, I want to become a pilot, I want to become an accountant, I want to become an architect, I want to become a nurse, I want to become a surveyor, I want to become accountant general, I want to become the president, I want to become this and that. But all those things does not matter in this present economic system, because right now your level of education does not determine your level of wealth. If you look into history very, very well, people that are rich today, they are not really educated people. They did not go to school very, very well. Look at Bill Gates, look at Elon Musk, look at all these guys. They're all there. Anwar, these guys are all there. Most of them did not go to school to achieve PhD. They did not go to school to achieve, to become a professor. But today they are very, very rich. Look at Warren Buffett. Do you get it now? Let me give an example. This executive, CEO of Coca-Cola is earning about $88 million in a year. And look at Warren Buffett, he's earning over, $350 million in a year. Look at the differences. The CEO is the head of that organization, but the investor is richer than what? Than the CEO. Can you see something there now? The CEO actually went to school, get all his certificates, went for professional courses and the rest of them. But at the end of the day, he's still subjected to the what? To the investor. So investment is actually the key to the future. So when you invest, you can even be richer than those that actually went to school to have a PhD. So education does not determine how far you are going to go when it comes to wealth creation. So you need financial education. When you have financial education, it will open your horizon, it will widen your scope where you can actually invest your money, put your money and make more money at the end of the day. Then you need to acquire what I call skills. You need to acquire more skills. Right now, what is actually winning in the world now is acquisition of what? Of skills. I could remember some time ago when we were hustling those days, we're doing some jobs that that was not making us good money, but along the line a lot of us actually diverted and acquired more skills, and at the end of the day we actually improve our life, and what we're actually earning there is not the same time as what we're actually earning now. So what we're saying there is that if you have skills, if you add skills to what you have right now, there's every probability that you are going to scale, you are going to upscale and make more money at the end of the day. So if you want to get the money, if you want to make 15 million and above in your savings account, these are the things that can actually help you at the end of the day. You need to prioritize your needs. You need to be intentional with your priority. You need to work hard. You need to work smartly. You need to work in the right direction. You need financial education, and you need more skills, because right now those that are skillful, that have skills in this economic system, are those that are actually making money, making money in this economic system. So I hope you have actually gained something in this video. If you have actually gained something in this video, it's time now to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share this video and also to like my video. Till I see you next time, thank you and God bless you. Bye bye.